Okay, so all right, guys. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. So today is the 8th day of our YouTube training sessions. Okay, and this is the concluding session. And today we are going to cover the report writing part. Okay. So is my screen visible, guys? Okay, all right. So today we are going to start with our report writing section. Okay, and here we are going to see like whatever we have performed in the previous steps, or like the footprinting, scanning, then exploitation, post exploitation, and all. Here we are going to summarize everything, and we have to see the ways how we can prepare a better report so that it is easier for our clients to understand what are our findings, what are the critical findings, the severity, and how they should implement that, and remediation, right? Okay, so we will start. All right, so now before that we have to understand what are the goals of penetration testing reports. Okay, so the very first one and the most important one is the listing the security flaws, vulnerabilities, security misconfiguration, and other exploitable resources found during the test, right? So this I don't need to explain. You guys can understand. Okay. So whatever we have found through all the phases of our testing, we need to mention that. Then analyze the options available to mitigate the vulnerabilities, right? After we define our vulnerabilities and our findings, then we have to analyze and find out the best possible ways with which we can mitigate those vulnerabilities. Okay. The next one is suggest solutions for security risk. Like we have to explain them that how they can mitigate or remediate those vulnerabilities. Then the next one is clarify prioritization of correction for the client's assets, right? Then the next one is recommend actions to prevent possible future cyber attacks, right? So after our test is complete, we have to, like after the remediation is also complete, we have to recommend certain steps and certain methods through which they can prevent being attacked, right? Help executive management make decisions about implementing security controls in the organization, right? Here is our important role, because we need to explain the management also, like what we found and how they can implement the like security controls in their organization, right? So we have to be a part of their decision making as well. Okay, now coming to the next point, that is report audience. Okay, so who are we addressing this reports to, right? So basically we have three, that is management, technicians, and developers, right? So coming to management, such personnel want to know if the organization is secure or not, right? Then provide clarity about the responsible stakeholders when an issue is found, right? So for like the basic understanding, you cannot expect the people from management to understand the highly technical things. So the main objective or the question they will ask you is that is my organization secure or not? Okay, and if I am not secure, if you have found certain vulnerabilities, so you have to provide me clarity so that I can explain it to the stakeholders as well. Okay, then coming to the next one is order of priority for corrections to be provided based on the importance of the identified issues. So by this we mean the severity level, or the like the issues we have found, we have to provide them the critical, high, or medium. We have to provide them the severity levels so that they can prioritize the ones which are more important, right? Then the next one is specify what needs to be fixed first. So related to the previous point only, after they have figured out which ones are the priority basis, they will fix the ones that come first in the priority list. Okay, The next one is discuss terms, matrices, risk mitigation, and financial loss. Right? Then graphics and statistics are most effective for this audience. Like you have to show them the graph or pie chart through which you can explain them that this amount of loss you might face, or these are the risk mitigation which we have helped you, or these are the things we have found. So that needs to be a graphical way. Okay, now coming to the next one is the technicians. Such personnel are responsible for fixing the identified technical issues and hence require detailed technical information. Okay, so technicians are the one who are the, like, with whom you have to explain what you have found in a technical manner. Okay, they have technical knowledge, and what will happen, they are the ones who are fixing the problems or the issues, right? So understanding the vulnerability or having the clarity is very important for these technicians. Okay, offer concise recommendations, right? Then describe the steps for remediation and offer a prioritized list of corrections, right? So we have to provide them the list, we have to explain them what are the vulnerability, and we also have to explain them the remediations, right? These are the steps you can follow to mitigate this bug or vulnerability. Okay, and the last one is the developers. Such personnel require technically detailed informations so that they can fix the code. Okay, for example, if you are performing application pen testing or web application pen testing, so you have to communicate with the developers and tell them exactly where the bug is, or where, or whatever the configuration or the coding is that causing the vulnerability or the vulnerable piece of code, right? We have to explain them that in a very technically detailed manner, right? The next point is the report is most efficient when a code review is included in the scope, right? So when they are providing us the source code and we are simultaneously checking out the source code and the web application, then chances are that will be more efficient for us, right? Okay, so in that manner, we will be able to understand the, like, functionality of the web application or the application in a better way, right? Details of the weakness if possible, like if you have found SQL injection or XSS, right? For example, let's take XSS only, and if you are seeing that there is no proper input validation and sanitization, so that is one, like, detail of the vulnerability, and we are also telling them the mitigation that if you implement input validation and sanitization processes or content security policy or cross origin resource sharing, these policies, then chances are you will be a bit more secure. Okay, then the next point is provide attack scenarios to enhance remediation requirements. Okay, then risk related data should be prioritized by severity and required remediations, right? So I have mentioned this only, that we have to provide them a priority list according to the severity of the bug, right? So if you are getting full account takeover, then that will be a high severity bug or critical severity bug, right? But if you are getting a basic information disclosure about the, let's take API key or Amazon, any kind of key authorization key, right? But if you cannot find any use of that, then that might be informational category. Okay, so in that manner, you have to create your priority list. And the last one is include efforts estimation if possible, like estimation, what are the cost and whatever, like, amount or money they will have to spend for securing the systems, right? The next one is report format. There are basically 4 formats. Then the first one is narrative, well structured, in-depth, technical, and hybrid, right? So for the narrative one, narrative reports contain an in-depth description of the technical aspect of the report. Such reports are suitable for a technical audience, but not for management executive level audience. Okay, so by this, like these 3 lines only, you can understand what it means. Okay, so here we are providing the POCs, the proof of concept, or the steps to reproduce, right? So if any one of you have done some bug bounty, you have seen that they ask for the POC, right? So in the narrative manner or format, we provide them the POC and the steps with which they can see for themselves how the bug is working, or which piece of the code is vulnerable, or where the actual bug or the problem is happening, right? The next one is well structured. Well-structured reports contain a high-level representation of the test results in the form of charts and graphs. These reports are intended for management and are not recommended for technical audience. Right. So here in this well-structured ones, we are like providing graphs and charts to like explain the management that these are the things we found and these are the things you need to do. These are the methods you have to implement your remediation and all. Right. So technicians and developers have no use of that. Okay, so what will a technician or an IT guy do with the well-structured or the graphs and charts, right? So for them, the narrative one is better. In-depth technical reports include a detailed description of the finding along with criticality and mitigation steps. Hence, such reports are suitable for technical audience, right? So this is another type of this narrative format of the report. Okay, then there is hybrid. Hybrid reports contain two sections. The first section includes a summary of the penetration test project for a management executive level audience. The second section includes detailed technical findings intended for a technical audience. Hence, hybrid reports are suitable for all types of audience, right? So if you need to provide just one report which has to contain everything, in that case, you can divide that report in two sections. The first one will be for the management, right, which will be well-structured one. And in the second half, which will be narrative or in-depth technical one. Okay, so hybrid means the combination of two. Okay, now there is types of penetration testing reports. Okay, so the first one is executive report. This report is a short briefing of the complete testing process and includes details of the tests, components, vulnerabilities, misconfigs, updates required, and other details that can help the authorities make decision for securing the target, right? So this one contains a very brief explanation or summary of all the things we have found, the vulnerabilities, the misconfigurations, or the outdated version which you need to update, or whatever the remediations are. Everything we need to provide them in a concise way. That is executive report. Coming to the next one is the host report. This report provides information about the hosts tested, vulnerabilities found, and exploited host, right? So this should include the subdomains or the IP addresses in the network that you found, okay, and which were exploited successfully, and the list of vulnerabilities or the versions that you have found in those hosts. Okay, the next one is client-side test report. Okay, this report includes the details of the client-side tests such as phishing, spear phishing, spam, and social engineering attacks used during the testing. It also provides detailed information about compromised client-side systems, right? So in this one, they will provide you the name of the employees who were successfully being social engineered, right? So if we were able to like perform phishing and other kind of social engineering attack, and we were able to gain something from that, in this type of report, we will mention that. Okay, so then the next one is user report. This report includes the information of users who were identified and targeted during the testing process along with the tasks performed by them. Okay, so when you are working in a, let's take an example, Active Directory environment, okay, and you have successfully exploited the domain controller and other users as well. So in this type of report, we are going to list out those users whom we have exploited, right? So that they can understand what were the issues in their systems, right? And the issues that were present in their end. Okay, so that they can implement those by themselves as well. Okay, the next one is vulnerability report. This report provides detailed information about all the vulnerabilities found during the pen testing process. It is recommended that the report lists the components with vulnerabilities and also offer solution to eliminate the vulnerabilities. Okay, so this is a list of the vulnerabilities which we found in the particular location or the host in which we found, and we also have to provide the mitigation or the remediation process or explain certain things to them. Okay, the next one is activity report. This report includes all the activity that the testing team had performed across the organization and can also include various documents to support the claims. Okay, so for example, this will contain the timestamps. Okay, for example, we have performed our Nmap scan on this day in that time. Okay, so we have to provide that to them. Okay. coming to the characteristics of a good penetration test report. So these are the things you need to keep in mind to make a good pen testing report. So the first one is it should be written in simple language that everyone can easily understand, right? So in this one, no one is checking your vocabulary or your English skills or literature skills. Okay. You need to keep it to the point so that everyone can understand it easily, right? The next one is in a professional manner using formal language, right? Or whatever language we use in our corporate or our work environment, that kind of formal language, right? It must be comprehensible to both technical and non-technical personnel such as security admins and stakeholders, right? So both technical and non-technical people, we have to keep that in mind. It should clearly explain the purpose of the penetration test as well as that of writing the report. Okay, like what was the purpose of the penetration test? Like why the organization or the client hired us in the first place, and the next we need to provide the reasons or the purpose of writing the report. Like this is what we found, we are giving you this, we have completed our task, we have met our deadlines, and we have completed our commitments, right? It should provide complete information to the readers in a clear format and not contain unnecessary information, right? So for example, if you are making a report for the management team, and if you are mentioning what word list you have used, or what was the for example payload you have used, so management has no work with that. Okay, so that you need to keep in mind while crafting your report. Okay, it should be grammatically correct, punctuated appropriately, and free of typographical errors. That is easy to understand. It should provide accurate information and support it with proper evidence such as screenshots of the test results and stolen credentials, right? So here again we are mentioning the POC, right? So we have to provide the timestamps when we performed it, or what the type of scan we have performed, right? So in case of Nmap scan, if you are performing a stealth scan, you have to provide screenshot of that, or whatever results you are gaining from that, you have to provide that as well. Okay. Then the next one is it should not contain biased information, right? So biased information, by that we mean like we are cybersecurity professional, let's suppose, and we are understanding that this might be very harmful for the organization, but we cannot be biased about that, right? We cannot ask them that you should come to us again and we will do this for you. Not in the report. That we will let the management handle. Okay. So the report should be to the point, precise, and non-biased. Okay. It must contain information sorted according to the security risk, with the highest risk being prioritized. So as I mentioned earlier, you have to prepare that in a level of the severity. Okay. Then writing the final report, the final pen testing report is the tangible output of the entire testing process. Without an appropriate report, it is extremely difficult to explain the entire process followed and the criticality of the findings, right? The final report should be easy to understand for the client and management and information security personnel. The report must meet the requirements of both the management as well as the technical personnel, right? A report that is too technical is of no use to the upper management. This is clear to understand. However, an overly simplistic report is not recommended, as the information security personnel may be unable to appropriately implement the recommended changes, right? So if you provide a basic understanding of a vulnerability, then chances are that will be enough for the management, but it will not be enough for your technical team, right? But if you make a highly technical report, it will be useful for the technical team, but the management team will not be able to understand any of it. Okay, that you need to keep in mind. You have to keep the balance between the objectives. Okay. So then you need to mention the final report delivery date. The delivery date should be included in the report so that the client organization can have that information for its record, right? So the delivery date are usually set when you are in your planning and scoping phase, right? So in that only you determine until when you are going to perform the test, what is the time limit, what is the deadline, what are the resources used, right? Now the cover letter should include the tester's name, the name of the organization the tester works for, and the tester's email address. Okay, it should be addressed to the client's organization's contact person. An individual cover letter includes details about the tester, acknowledges those who helped in the successful completion of the pen test. Okay, so in this cover letter we mention the necessary information about our tester. Okay, so the person or the team who has performed the test, their information will be provided in that. So in case they might have faced any issue, so that they have the opportunity to contact the team, pen testing team. Okay, now coming to the executive summary. Okay, this is the most important part of it. Okay, the first one is organization synopsis. This section includes a brief description of the organization and its network. Okay, this is about the organization. Who is it, what it does, what are the services it provides, that thing. Purpose for the evaluation. This section defines the reason for undertaking the penetration test, right? So here we describe the purpose, like why we are having this penetration test in the first place, right? The next one is system description. This section includes a brief description of the systems used across the client organization, right? So if they are using certain type of servers, certain type of devices, certain operating systems, certain servers, so those kind of things. Okay, scope of the project, right? This section includes the total number of IP addresses, apps, devices, hosts, and other network resources that the organization had mentioned in the contract, right? So scope of the project, this we already discussed in the scoping and planning phase. So here we will provide a summary on what we have agreed on, us and the client, what we have agreed, right? The contract we have made, like this will be the in scope items, this will be the out of scope items that we need to mention here in brief. Okay. The next one is summary of evaluation. This section should contain a summary of the tests performed by the pen tester and the results obtained, right? So what are the tests we have performed, right? So we have checked for SQL injection in the login page. We have checked it for the username parameter, password parameter, right? Then we have checked for our XSS, right? We have performed in the search parameter or any other parameter we have found. We have done some crawling with our burp suite. Those things we need to mention here. Summary of the evaluation. Okay. Then the next one is assumptions and timelines. This section should simplify all the assumptions made during the testing process and include all the commencement and completion dates for each testing, right? So, as I mentioned earlier, that when you are working on a pen test project or on a target, or even when you are performing footprinting and information gathering also, you cannot be 100% sure about anything. There is always uncertainty present. Okay. So you need to, in certain times, you need to assume things, right? So if we assume that the username and password might be admin and password 123. So we are assuming that. Okay. We are guessing that. So that we need to mention here. Right. Then there is the major findings and recommendation. This section should include a summary of the major findings and any issues that could lead to future cyber attacks. The testers should also mention any recommended action to mitigate the vulnerabilities, right? So if something is happening, like for example, I have found one HTML injection and I can chain that HTML injection with open redirect, right? So with this open redirect, I can do what? I can make the user go into another site which is hosted by any malicious user, right? So that we need to mention over here, so that whatever is causing that particular HTML injection, they are able to fix that. Okay. Then coming to the next one is testing methodology. This section specifies the standard frameworks and techniques followed to perform penetration test, right? For example, EC Council's LPT or OWASP top 10 or any other standard that we have followed or methodology we need to mention here. Then there is planning. This section includes the detail of the planned penetration test process and how the actual process was performed, right? So we have discussed about planning and scoping. That planning part we need to mention here in brief. Okay. Then there is exploitation. This section includes all the details, exploitation process followed during the penetration test, right? So like whatever exploitation techniques we have used, whatever payloads we have used, or whatever post-exploitation things we have performed, those we need to mention here, right? And the conclusion, this is the concluding section of the report. These conclusions include any further suggestion for the testing team, right? For example, this should contain things like, if they are saying that there is certain issue in the DNS configuration, and we can find a format through which we can find the reverse DNS of one site, which you guys are using through a third party service. So in that case, what we can do, if that website or the subdomain is going down or is not working, then we can perform a subdomain takeover, right? So in that case, what you need to do, you need to delete the information about that particular subdomain and remove it from the repository or the internet, right? So these things are present in the conclusion. Now I will just show you the image of this. No, not this one. Okay, so report details. Okay, so here you will see that these are the things we need to cover or like mention in our report, right? So the first one is report details, document details, version history information, recipient, penetration testing team members, and contact information, right? Very basic information. Then there is executive summary, project objectives, project scope, target system, assumptions and timelines, summary of the evaluation findings and recommendation, testing methodology, planning, exploitation, reporting, right? Then there is general opinion, personnel, policies and procedures, critical vulnerabilities, identification and authentication, intrusion detection, conclusion, right? Then there is comprehensive technical report, which includes the web application assessment, security management, security architecture, access control methodologies, physical and operational security, telecommunication and network security, application and system security, right? So this lists out the highly technical part of the test, right? And whatever we have performed in those specific categories, right? Then coming to the next is the result analysis, recommendation, supplemental CD, readme file, right? Appendix, list of illustration, and the tables. Okay. So this part will cover that much, like this is the entire structure of your report, and these are the points that should be present in your professional report, right? And you will see there are few other points, that is report components, cover letter, document properties, version history, table of content, right? Assessment information, contact information, right? Then there is a distribution list, confidentiality statements, executive summary, comprehensive technical report, result analysis, recommendation, and appendices. Okay, now we are going to take a look into the like a real life report, how it looks like. Okay, so if you see penetration testing report for the client, whoever it might be, right? So this is the executive summary. As you can see here, it is mentioned, this report presents the result of the gray box penetration testing. Gray box, so we have to mention the methodology or our strategy. Yeah, see, like making these reports, using Word is fine only. Okay, when you are making any kind of presentation for the management team, then you can make the PPT of it, but Word is fine. It does work. Okay, it will be enough, right? So here is the executive summary. You can see the infrastructure, the recommendation provided in the report structure to facilitate remediation of the identified security risk. This document serves as a formal letter of attestation for the recent infrastructure penetration testing, right? So we need to mention certain things here. So we are also providing the like infrastructure perimeter, severity, security level, and grade, right? So we are providing grades like fair, good, poor, those kind of things, right? Then the grade security criteria description, right? So if we are providing any particular infrastructure as A, then the security is good and it is secure, partially secure, I should say, then if you give B and C or D, these kind of gradings, we have to provide them. Right. Then there is assumptions and constraints, objective and scope. Right. So here we mention the objective, organization name, audit type, assessment URLs, the URL on which we are going to perform, or the IP addresses. Right. Then the results overview. Okay. And then, like, if you see that this resembles some of like Nessus scan report, right? Vulnerability by severity. So this part is for the management level. Okay. So here you can see the table that describes critical, high, medium, low, and informational. Okay. Now, summary of business risks, like what is the actual business impact of the vulnerabilities you have found. Okay. We discuss it over here. All right. So then there is high level recommendations. For example, conduct current versus future IT security program review, establish secure SDLC best practices, assign security engineer to a project to monthly review code, conduct SAST and DAST security testing, review architecture of the application. These are the high level recommendation which, as pen tester, we will recommend our client that you should do this in your everyday life. Okay, you need to be aware of certain things, you need to keep certain things in mind, and if you follow that, chances of being cyber attacked will be lesser. Okay, then there is performed tests, right? So there is injection, broken authentication, sensitive data exposure, right? So what we are doing here, we are providing status, meets criteria, fails criteria, right? So broken authentication fails criteria. Okay, so this one is for a web application pen test report, right? So we have followed the OWASP top 10 and SANS 25 methodologies, right? Then there is security tools used, Burp Suite Pro Commercial Edition, Nmap, Nikto, Dirbuster, Test SSL, GoBuster, Nessus, Hydra, Harvester, Sublister, and etc. etc. Right? Then we mention the methodology with which we have performed our tests, right? Penetration testing execution standard, OWASP top 10, OWASP testing guide, SANS, and the open source security testing methodology. Okay, then there is finding details, right? So the first one is reflected cross-site scripting in multiple pages, right? So this is a high severity. So you can see they have mentioned the link, and they have also provided the payload which was actually being executed in the link, right? So this also you need to provide. Issue description, what is XSS, you need to explain that. What are the impacts of it, you need to explain that as well. Now proof of concept or proof of vulnerability is the screenshots that they will provide, that you have to provide. Okay, so step by step you have to explain them, what you are finding, where you are finding, and etc. Okay, then after you have covered one vulnerability, you have to provide the remediation, right? So using frameworks that automatically escape XSS by design, such as the latest Ruby on Rails, React.js, etc., etc. Right? Then there is SMTP without server without authentication, right? So here, this is a list of like vulnerabilities that were found in this report. Okay, so just follow the sequence. First, we define the severity, then we define the location, then we define the like issue. What is the issue? What is actually happening in that, and what is the like? Then we cover the proof of concept with screenshots. Then we provide recommendations. Right. So these are the things you have to follow when you make a report. Okay. So there is session fixation. You will see severity, location, description, proof of vulnerability, and recommendation. Okay, so this is the sequence. Ideally, this is pretty easy to understand. Okay, so guys, this is it for the reporting part. So tell me, give me your feedback. How was the sessions? How were the past 7 sessions? How you liked it? Was it helpful to you guys? Did you guys enjoy it? And was this really helpful? And would you like more initiatives from Hackers for You team in future or not? Okay, let me know in the chats. All right. Mobile pen testing. Okay, regarding the other like specifications, I would like to introduce to our Hackers for Use penetration testing master's program. Okay, so this is one course that we are currently conducting. Okay, so this is a master program, and if you just scroll down, you will see that these are the modules which we are currently teaching. Okay, so you will see compared to the other traditional courses out there, you will see we are covering a lot more domains compared to that. Okay, so you will see we are also covering the Linux for pen testing, networking fundamentals, information gathering, and the basic parts. And until these first 10 modules, these are the basic you will get everywhere. But coming to the next 10 one, you will see we are covering API, database, AD, Active Directory, Android, cloud, IoT, social engineering, CTFs, and VDP and bug bounty as well. Okay. So if you are really interested in a like compiled way where you can learn all the like 360-degree of pen testing, all the topics and types, then PMP is one of the best options we can, or this is the best resource we can provide you guys currently. Okay, so I would suggest you guys go to LinkedIn, right, and follow Hackers for You, and from there you just take a look. We will provide this PPT with you to you. Okay. Okay, regarding the charges and the cost, you have to contact here. Okay, these are the contact information. Okay, so the PPT will be provided to you. Okay, and there are other things that I need to say in that, because coming to this point, you will see that the courses that you will find, you will see that they are covering network pen testing, little bit of wireless pen testing, and web application pen testing in general. Okay, but for the other these topics, you need to buy courses separately. But we are providing all of these in one particular course, which will be an 80 hours live course. Okay, so I would suggest this is a very good opportunity for you guys, right? So we are also trying to make an impact in the market, right? So we are trying to provide something different and provide something unique to you guys. Okay, so I would specially tell you guys to focus on these 10 modules. Okay, API pen testing, database pen testing, AD, Android, cloud, IoT. So the basic thing you need to understand is that when you are applying for a pen testing job role, no, then knowing the basics of Kali Linux, or just knowing some basic network attacks, right, or only web application attacks is not enough. Okay, when they are asking for a pen tester job role, they are asking for all of these concepts. You should have some, at least some basic concepts on these. Okay, and one more thing is that regarding the internship, like this program, if you opt for this program, this will be 80 hours program, and after you complete this, there is one internship program that we have, that is HPTIP, Hackers for You penetration testing internship program, right? So you will get the opportunity to take part in that internship. Okay, so after you have done our course, you will have enough knowledge so that you can go for any of the certifications. Okay, so for OSCP you will need to perform a little bit more, but the amount of things or resources we will provide, that will be enough to cover these certifications. Okay, now coming to the internship part, is that after you have completed this 80 hours live training, you will be eligible for our HPTIP Hackers for You penetration testing internship program. Okay, that is a 3-month internship program. Okay, it is free, but I can assure you, you will be able to get a lot of experience from that. Okay, we will give you live projects. We will provide you custom labs on which you can perform your test. Okay, and this internship is not just like the other ones compared to the other ones in the industry. Okay, then there is jobs after you have just done this PMP, and if you do our internship program, then you will be pretty much eligible for the jobs. Okay, we will also provide some kind of like career counseling sessions as well in that. Okay, So this is regarding our HPTIP program, the Hackers for You pen testing internship program, right? So this is like 2 times in a year we conduct this, and it is a 3-month internship. Okay, so this PPT will be provided to you, so you can just take a little bit more look. Okay, so what you can see here is our services. We provide vulnerability assessment, pen testing, cybersecurity consulting, digital forensics, security auditing, threat intelligence, training and certification. We provide all of this. Okay, so we also work as a pen testing organization. We have clients. We perform pen testing for our clients as well. Okay, guys. So this would be a great opportunity for you guys if you enroll to our PMP program. Okay, so this is just the image of us going into another like schools and organizations to like conduct sessions. Okay, so we have only covered 2 pages of that. That definitely isn't enough. We have done a lot more than this. Okay, so you guys know this is the global outreach. We are not just limited to Asia or Southeast Asian countries. We have students and like interns from USA, Canada, and other places as well. Okay, so can I get internship in your company? Regarding that, you have to like keep in touch with the LinkedIn profile. Okay, you have to follow us on LinkedIn. All the updates about the jobs and all, or the opportunities we provide in LinkedIn only. Okay, so see there is a message in the group mentioning the phone number. Okay, so if you are really interested in this, you can contact in this phone number. Okay, so 82716 Okay, so if you are really interested in our program, just ping in this number and our team will contact you. All right, guys, so thank you so much for being present with us for the last 8 days. It was great and amazing to have you guys. Okay, and it was great to see so much enthusiasm amongst you guys, right? And I am really glad that you have liked my way of teaching and whatever I have provided. If you have really liked our sessions, then I would suggest you post it on LinkedIn. Okay, like you will be getting the like the completion certificate, right? So what you can do, you can tag us, like tag the Hackers for You page, LinkedIn page, and you can also tag me. Okay, so you can do that. Okay, so it was great to have you guys, and we are looking forward to having more free training sessions on YouTube. Okay, so then also we will expect you guys to be present there. Okay, you guys are a great audience. Okay, okay, I am sharing my LinkedIn profile. Just a second. Okay, so I have provided the link, and I am also providing the Hackers for You page link. Okay, so the link has been provided. Okay, so the fill out the attendance link. Okay, so and everyone who has attended the all 8 sessions will receive the completion certificate. It is great to have you guys again. Thank you so much for being present. It was, you guys really are a great audience. Okay, so responsive, right? That's all we expect, and we are really grateful to you guys for being present with us. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And I would like to end the session here. Okay.